I'm pleased to introduce Dr. Jeff Stanzler, one of the two instructors teaching Education 461 in fall of 2021. The course is titled Web-Based Mentorship, Earth Odysseys. In this course, U of M students become online mentors to middle and high school students who are studying a certain part of the world. And this year, the focus of the curriculum will be the Nubia region of Africa. The course is open to both undergraduate and graduate students from any U of M school or college. Welcome, Dr. Stanzler.
Thanks, Danielle.
Can you please tell us how this course is connected to Earth Odysseys Nubia online project?
Yeah, let me just real quickly say just a word about the Odyssey, just to augment some of what you mentioned in the introduction. So the nature of the project is such that we've got a worldwide network of middle school and high school students who engage for the course of the fall school term in learning about, kind of in parallel, about the country or culture being studied. So we have a compendium of reports that are written by our travelers, many of whom over the years have been graduates of the School of Education, and they are so in their classroom, students are reading their reports and then bringing and discussing them and bringing the fruits of those discussions into the online space, where they're offering reactions to the posts, raising questions, making connections, what have you. And then coming from the other side, we have the university students. So in Ed 461, the college students, as you mentioned, both grad and undergrad students, are working on trying to be good mentors to and supporters of the learning of the student participants. So that necessitates that we're spending time both looking at the country and culture in question, looking at issues related to what it means to be a traveler, particularly an American traveler, which also has some additional connotations to it, and then thinking about what it means to facilitate good conversation and to engage as fully as we can in the idea that one learns by teaching.
Sounds excellent. Thank you. Now, this course in particular leverages a collaborative research project at the U of M called Narrating Nubia. How are the project and the course related?
Yeah. So Narrating Nubia, the spirit of the project is captured in a very nice descriptive phrase, talking about as it involves both anthropologists, archaeologists, and ethnographers who are interested in decolonizing anthropology in particular, and trying to engage in what they call reparative research, so that it's more of a collaborative enterprise rather than one where you're sort of coming in the some sort of old school mode of scientists coming from outside to do their work and disappearing. So there are faculty from across campus who are going to be engaging ultimately with work co-creating with Nubian community stakeholders a variety of resources, from short films to historical walking tours to the Odyssey project. And the gist at its core of what we're doing as it connects to Narrating Nubia is helping students to imagine how they relate to societies with which they have little or no exposure. And this idea of reparative research is, for us, is embodied in the idea that the reports will be written by and in cooperation with Nubians both in the field and living abroad as co-creators of the stories and relating their stories as they see fit to tell them, and providing a vehicle in which hundreds of students around the US and across the globe can engage with various aspects of the historical and cultural life of Nubia.
Thank you. Now, you mentioned this earlier, but I know that it's one of the most popular aspects of this course, and that's the mentorship piece. Can you talk a little bit about how U of M students grow their skills as mentors during this course?
Yeah, sure, Danielle. So first of all, fundamentally, they're doing a lot of practice. So they're working to, over a period of several weeks, engaging on a regular basis with their students who are trying to think about how they can simultaneously honor student work and try to push their thinking forward. So one of the fundamental aspects of this whole enterprise is trying to help students to see themselves as people with something worthwhile to say. And so at its core, the college students are trying to take time to look carefully at what students are saying, and maybe even to read between the lines a little bit, to try to ask good questions, to offer constructive and supportive feedback as the students engage in this process of trying to answer this sometimes very challenging, simple question: what do I think? So the mentors are trying to help the students more fully develop their ideas, and they're, as I mentioned, to try to think about ways to help students recognize that, believe that their ideas matter. The last thing I want to say, Danielle, which I think is really important here, is that we believe in the project being both what I call a window and a mirror, meaning that I do want my students at the university and the younger students to have a good, engaged opportunity to study about, in this case, about Nubian culture, whether it's on the Sudanese side or on the Egyptian side. But I also want it to be a mirror, and that's crucial. Without it, the project doesn't have the meaning that it needs to have. And by that, I mean that the students, all the participants, are asking different and better questions about their own lives, and that they are in the conversation and the kind of choices we make societally as families, how we go to school, everything. You know, these are kinds of things that maybe we have a little different way of looking at by virtue of starting with someone else's culture and then coming back to looking at our own.
Great. Well, thanks so much for taking the time, and can't wait to see you in Education 461 this fall.
Thanks, Danielle.